Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the TSS Defiant and looked out at the endless black of space. The ship was old, one of the first human vessels to travel beyond the solar system. Its metal walls were scratched and worn from many years of service, but Elena loved this ship like it was her own child. "Captain, we are receiving a distress signal," said Lieutenant Chen from his station. His voice was calm, but his eyes were wide with surprise. Elena turned to face him. "From who? There shouldn't be anyone else in this sector." "It's coming from the Nexus corridor, ma'am. The signal is alien." The bridge went silent. In the 50 years since humans had discovered faster-than-light travel, they had found many alien species. Some were friendly, some were not. But a distress call was something you never ignored, no matter who it came from. "Put it on speaker," Elena ordered. The sound that filled the bridge was strange and beautiful. It was like music mixed with words that Elena could not understand, but the computer quickly translated it into English. "This is High Admiral Zethron of the Velanthe Diplomatic Fleet. We are under attack by Crawl raiders. Our shields are failing. We have 3,000 civilians on board, including the children of our highest council members. If anyone can hear this, please help us. Please." Elena felt her heart beat faster. The Velanthe were one of the oldest races in the galaxy. They were known for their wisdom and their beautiful ships that looked like floating crystals. They were also known for never asking for help. For them to send out a distress call meant things were very bad. "How far away are they?" Elena asked. 20 minutes at maximum speed," Chen replied. "But Captain, our orders are to patrol this sector. We are not supposed to leave our assigned area." Elena looked at her crew. There were only 47 people on the Defiant. It was a small ship with limited weapons. The Crawl were vicious pirates who attacked in large numbers. Going to help the Velanthe could mean death for all of them. But Elena remembered why she had joined the Terran Space Force. It was not for glory or money. It was because she believed that good people should help others, no matter the cost. "Set a course for the Nexus corridor," she said. "Maximum speed." "But Captain," Chen started to say. "I know what our orders are, Lieutenant. I also know that 3,000 people are about to die if we don't help them. I will take full responsibility for this decision. Now, set the course." Chen nodded, and his fingers moved quickly over his controls. The Defiant's engines roared to life, and the stars outside the window became long streaks of light as the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. Elena walked to the center of the bridge and pressed a button on her chair. Her voice echoed through every part of the ship. "Attention all crew, this is Captain Vasquez. We are responding to a distress call from a Velanthe fleet that is under attack by Crawl raiders. I will not lie to you. This will be dangerous. The Crawl are strong and we are just one ship, but there are innocent people who need our help, including children. I believe that being human means standing up for those who cannot defend themselves. If anyone has objections, speak now." She waited. The ship was quiet. Then, one by one, voices came through the communication system. "Engineering is ready, Captain. Weapon systems are online. Medical bay is prepared for casualties. Navigation is set. We will arrive in 18 minutes. Elena felt proud of her crew. They were afraid, she knew, but they were also brave. "Thank you," she said simply. "Let's go save some lives." The Defiant flew through space faster than it had ever flown before. Chief Engineer Rodriguez pushed the engines beyond their safe limits, making them burn hotter and brighter. The old ship shook and groaned, but it held together. "Captain, I'm getting sensor readings from the battle zone," said Lieutenant Kim from the science station. Her face was pale. "The Velanthe fleet consists of 12 ships. They are surrounded by 47 Crawl vessels." Elena closed her eyes for a moment. 47 against 1. Those were terrible odds, but she had made her choice. "What is the status of the Velanthe ships?" 3 are already destroyed. 4 more have heavy damage. The main flagship where the civilians are located still has shields, but they are at 12% and falling. Alina thought quickly. The Defiant could not win a straight fight against 47 ships, but maybe she didn't need to win. Maybe she just needed to buy time. Chen, is there anything special about this area of space? Any natural phenomena we could use? Chen checked his screens. There is a nebula nearby, the Crimson Cloud. It's filled with ionized gas that interferes with sensors and weapons. Ships cannot use their targeting computers inside it. Alina smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had just found a very dangerous idea. How far is the nebula from the battle? About 5 minutes at normal speed. But Captain, if we go into that nebula, we will be blind too. Our weapons will not work any better than theirs. I know, Alina said, but we have something the Crawl do not have. What is that, Captain? We have humans, and humans have been fighting without computers for thousands of years. She stood up straight and spoke to the entire crew again. All hands prepare for manual combat operations. I want every weapon switched to hand targeting. Gunners, forget your computers. You're going to aim with your eyes and shoot with your hands, like our ancestors did on the oceans of Earth. We are going to lead those Crawl into the nebula and fight them the old way. The crew responded with energy and determination. Alina could hear them moving through the ship, preparing for battle. Lieutenant Kim, open a channel to the Valanthe flagship. Channel open, Captain. Alina took a deep breath. Hi, Admiral Zethron, this is Captain Alina Vasquez of the Terran ship Defiant. We have received your distress call and we are coming to help. I need you to trust me and follow my instructions exactly. Can you do that? There was a pause, then a deep musical voice replied. Captain Vasquez, I am grateful for your response, but you are only one ship. The Crawl are many. You will die if you come here. Maybe, Alina said, but I'm coming anyway. Now I need you to take your fleet and fly toward the Crimson Cloud Nebula. I have a plan. Hi, Admiral Zethron's voice came through the communication channel again, filled with confusion and surprise. The nebula, but our systems will not function there. We will be helpless. Alina gripped the armrest of her chair. So will the Crawl, but my people have a saying, Admiral. When the lights go out, the darkness is the same for everyone. The difference is who knows how to fight in the dark. Trust me, please. The silence that followed was the longest of Alina's life. Then the Admiral spoke. Very well, Captain Vasquez, we will trust you. May the stars watch over us all. Alina nodded even though the Admiral could not see her. They will, Admiral. Now move your ships. We're coming in hot. The Defiant burst out of faster-than-light speed like a bullet from a gun. The scene before them was chaos. Broken pieces of ships floated everywhere. Bright lights flashed as weapons fired in all directions. The beautiful crystal ships of the Valanthe were surrounded by the ugly black vessels of the Crawl raiders. Alina did not hesitate. All weapons fire on the nearest Crawl ships. Let them know we're here. The Defiant's guns came alive. Blue beams of energy shot across space and hit 2 Crawl ships. The ships did not explode, but their shields flickered and they turned to face this new threat. We got their attention, Chen said. His voice was shaking slightly. Good, Alina replied. Now let's make them angry enough to chase us, all ahead full straight toward the nebula. The Defiant turned and flew toward the distant red cloud. Behind them, 20 Crawl ships broke away from the main attack and followed. 20 ships pursuing, Kim reported. 27 still attacking the Valanthe fleet. Not enough, Alina muttered. We need more of them to follow us. Rodriguez, is there anything you can do to make our ship look more important? The chief engineer's voice came through the speaker, rough and tired. I can boost our energy signature, make us look like a battleship instead of a patrol vessel, but it will use a lot of power. Do it. Suddenly, the Defiant began to glow brighter on every sensor screen in the area. To the Crawl, it now looked like a massive warship, a much bigger prize than the Velanthe civilians. 35 ships now pursuing, Kim said with excitement. Only 12 still attacking the fleet. The Velanthe are moving toward the nebula, Chen added. They're following your orders, Captain. Alina watched the red cloud grow larger in the window. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. In a few minutes, they would enter it, and everything would change. Send a message to all crew, she said. Once we enter the nebula, stay calm and trust your training. We've got this. She hoped she was right. The crimson cloud swallowed the Defiant like a great red monster. Immediately, all the screens on the bridge went dark. The hum of the targeting computers went silent. They were blind. All sensors offline, Kim confirmed. We are flying by visual only. Alina looked out the window. She could see maybe a few hundred meters ahead through the swirling red gas. After that, everything was hidden. Slow to 1/4 speed, she ordered. Weapons teams prepare for manual fire. When you see a Crawl ship, shoot it. Don't wait for orders. Captain, Chen said quietly, the Crawl ships are entering the nebula behind us. Alina smiled. Her plan was working. Now came the hard part. Time to hunt, she said. The first Crawl ship appeared from the red clouds like a ghost. It was closer than Alina expected, and she could see the surprise of its crew through its windows. They had not expected to find the Defiant so soon. Fire, Alina shouted. The Defiant's guns roared. At this close range, they could not miss. The Crawl ship's shields, weakened by the nebula's energy, shattered under the attack. The ship exploded in a ball of orange fire. One down, Alina said. 34 to go. The next few minutes were pure chaos. Crawl ships appeared and disappeared in the red clouds. Some the Defiant destroyed. Others flew past without seeing them. Twice, Crawl weapons hit the Defiant and the whole ship shook with the impact. Shields at 60%, Rodriguez reported. We can't take many more hits like that. Alina knew he was right. They needed to keep moving, keep the Crawl confused. In a straight fight, they would lose. But in this strange game of hide and seek, they had a chance. Take us deeper into the nebula, she ordered. Let's see how brave these pirates really are. The Velanthe fleet was waiting near the center of the nebula. When they saw the Defiant approaching, Admiral Zethron's voice came through the communication system. The signal was weak and filled with static, but his words were clear. Captain Vasquez, you are still alive, I'm impressed. Save the compliments for later, Admiral. How many ships do you have that can still fight? 5 are combat ready. The others can only defend themselves. 5 will have to be enough. I need your best pilots to fly in formation with my ship. We're going to lead the Crawl into a trap. What kind of trap? Alina explained her plan quickly. The Admiral listened in silence. When she finished, he spoke slowly. This plan is insane. No Velanthe commander would ever attempt such a thing. Good thing I'm not Velanthe then, Alina replied. Can you do it? Another pause. Then, in a voice filled with something that might have been respect, the Admiral answered. Yes, Captain, we can do it. Your courage shames us all. Don't be shamed, Alina said. Be ready, here they come. 32 Crawl ships emerged from the red clouds. They had found the fleets and were moving in for the kill. Their weapons began to charge, ready to destroy everything in their path. But Alina was ready too. Now, she shouted, all ships execute Maneuver Delta 7. The Defiant and the 5 Velanthe ships shot forward toward the Crawl, flying directly at their formation. The move was so unexpected that the Crawl did not fire. They were waiting for their targeting computers, which did not work in the nebula. At the last possible moment, Alina's combined force split apart, flying around in between the Crawl ships. As they passed, they fired every weapon they had at point-blank range. The effect was devastating. 12 crawl ships exploded in seconds. Others crashed into each other in confusion. The orderly crawl formation fell apart into chaos. "Come around," Alina ordered. "Hit them again while they're confused." The small fleet turned and attacked once more. This time, the crawl tried to fight back, but without their computers, their shots were wild and unfocused. Human gunners, trained to aim without technology, found their targets with deadly accuracy. 20 crawl ships remaining, Kim reported, her voice high with excitement. 18, 15. Then disaster struck. A lucky crawl shot hit the Defiant's engine section. The ship shook violently, and alarms began to scream. "Engine damage," Rodriguez shouted. "We're losing power." Alina gripped her chair as the ship began to slow. Without engines, they were a sitting target. "Can you fix it?" "I need 5 minutes." "We don't have 5 minutes." Outside the window, Alina could see crawl ships turning toward them. They had noticed that the Defiant was wounded. Like sharks smelling blood, they were moving in for the kill. Alina closed her eyes. She had led her crew into this. She had promised them they could win. Now it seemed she had been wrong. Then something amazing happened. The 5 Velanthi ships formed a circle around the Defiant. They placed their own damaged hulls between the human ship and the crawl weapons. Their shields flared as they absorbed hits that should have destroyed the Defiant. "What are you doing?" Alina demanded over the communication channel. "You'll be destroyed." Admiral Zethron's voice came back, calm and certain. "You came to save us when you had no reason to. You risked everything for people you never met. This is the least we can do. Now fix your ship, Captain. We will hold them." Alina felt tears in her eyes. She had not expected this. She had not expected anything except to do her duty and probably die. "Rodriguez," she said, her voice rough with emotion, "you have 3 minutes. Make it work." "Aye, Captain. I'll make it work if I have to hold the wires together with my bare hands." The battle raged around them. The Velanthi ships fought with a fury that Alina had never seen from their kind. They were not warriors by nature, but they fought like demons to protect the ship that had come to protect them. 2 Velanthi ships were destroyed. A third was badly damaged, but they did not retreat. 2 minutes, Rodriguez called. More crawl ships exploded, but more also arrived, drawn by the fighting. Alina counted 9 new ships entering the battle area. 1 minute. The flagship with Admiral Zethron took a direct hit. Its beautiful crystal hull cracked and began to break apart. Alina watched in horror as the great ship started to die. "Admiral," she shouted. "I am still here, Captain," Zethron replied. His voice was weak but steady. "My ship is lost, but the civilians have been transferred to other vessels. They are safe because of you." 30 seconds, Rodriguez was screaming now. "Come on, come on." The crawl were closing in. Alina could see them through the window, their weapons aimed directly at the Defiant. "Engines online," Rodriguez shouted in triumph. "Full power restored." Alina did not hesitate. "All power to weapons and shields. Target the lead crawl ships." The Defiant came back to life like a phoenix rising from ashes. Its guns blazed with renewed strength, tearing through the surprised crawl attackers. The human ship surged forward, leading what remained of the fleet in one final charge. The crawl, shocked by the sudden change, began to retreat. They had expected an easy victory. Instead, they had found something they did not understand. They had found humans who would not give up, no matter the odds. "They're running," Chin shouted. "The crawl are running." Alina watched the black ships flee into the red clouds of the nebula. She wanted to chase them, to make sure they could never hurt anyone again. But her ship was damaged and her crew was exhausted. "Let them go," she said quietly. "We've won enough today." The bridge erupted in cheers. Crew members hugged each other and cried with relief. They had faced death and survived. But Alina did not celebrate. She was looking at the broken remains of the Velanthi flagship, where Admiral Zethron had sacrificed his ship to save hers. "Admiral," she said into the communication channel, "are you there?" For a long moment there was only silence. Then a familiar voice answered. "I am here, Captain. I was rescued by one of my own ships. My crew was not so lucky. Many died today." "I'm sorry." "Do not be sorry. You saved 3,000 civilians, including all the children. My crew knew the risks. They died with honor, protecting the innocent. There is no better death for a Valanthi." Alina nodded slowly. "Then let's get your people out of this nebula and somewhere safe." The combined fleet slowly made its way out of the crimson cloud. The red nebula faded behind them, keeping its secrets and the wreckage of the battle. Ahead, the stars shone clean and bright. 2 months passed after the battle. The Defiant returned to Terran space for repairs, and Captain Alina Vasquez expected to face punishment for disobeying her patrol orders. She had prepared herself for a court-martial, maybe even the end of her career. What she did not expect was to become famous. The Valanthi Collective had sent messages to every major government in the galaxy. They told the story of how one small human ship had saved their diplomatic fleet from destruction. They described Captain Vasquez's bravery, her clever plan, and her refusal to abandon strangers in danger. The story spread like fire through dry grass. On Earth, news channels played the story constantly. Politicians gave speeches about Terran courage and honor. Children played games where they pretended to be Captain Vasquez, saving aliens from pirates. Her face appeared on screens everywhere. Alina hated every moment of it. "I just did my job," she said to Admiral Harrison when she stood before him in the Terran Space Force headquarters. "I don't deserve all this attention." Admiral Harrison was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had seen many battles in his long career. He looked at Alina with an expression she could not read. "Captain Vasquez, you disobeyed direct orders. You took your ship into a battle you had no chance of winning. You risked the lives of 47 crew members." He paused. "You also saved 3,000 civilians and changed the relationship between humanity and the Valanthi forever." Alina stood straight, waiting for the punishment she was sure was coming. "The Valanthi have offered Earth a full alliance," Admiral Harrison continued. "They are one of the oldest and most respected races in the galaxy. They have technology and knowledge that we could only dream about, and they are offering all of it to us because of what you did." Alina blinked in surprise. "An alliance with the Valanthi?" "Yes, and that's not all. They have specifically asked that you be part of the treaty signing. High Admiral Zethron has requested your presence personally. He says the alliance means nothing if the human who earned it is not there." Alina did not know what to say. She had expected anger and punishment. Instead, she was being treated like a hero. "Admiral, I broke the rules. I should face consequences for that." Harrison smiled for the first time. "Captain, sometimes the rules are wrong. Sometimes doing the right thing means ignoring orders. That's not easy. Most officers follow their orders because it's safer, easier. You chose the harder path. You chose to risk everything for people you didn't know. That's not something to punish. That's something to celebrate." He stood up and extended his hand. Alina shook it, still feeling confused. "You're being promoted to Commodore, Vasquez. You'll have command of a small fleet instead of just one ship. The Defiant will be repaired and upgraded with Valanthi technology. And in 1 week, you'll travel to the Valanthi homeworld for the Alliance ceremony." "I don't know what to say, sir." "Say yes, Commodore. That's all you need to say." Alina nodded slowly. "Yes, sir." The next week passed in a blur of activity. Alina's crew was given medals and honors. The Defiant received new weapons and shields, gifts from the Valanthi. Engineers from both species worked together, learning from each other. Alina spent most of her time trying to avoid reporters and politicians. She did not want to be interviewed. She did not want to give speeches. She just wanted to go back to space, back to the simple life of a ship captain. But fate had other plans. The day before she was supposed to leave for the Velanthe homeworld, Alina received a private message. It was from Admiral Zethron. "Commodore Vasquez," the message began, "I know you do not want fame or glory. I could see this in your eyes during the battle. You are a true warrior, not a performer, but I must ask something of you. The ceremony tomorrow is not just about politics. It is about showing our people that humans are worthy of trust. Many Velanthe still doubt your species. They think humans are too young, too violent, too primitive. Only you can change their minds. Only the human who saved us can prove that your species is worthy of alliance. Please do this for me. Do this for both our peoples." Alina read the message 3 times. She understood what Zethron was asking. The alliance was fragile. Many Velanthe did not want it. If Alina refused to participate in the ceremony, if she showed that she did not care about the alliance, it might fall apart. She thought about her crew, who had followed her into battle without question. She thought about the Velanthe children who were alive because of that decision. She thought about what this alliance could mean for humanity's future among the stars. Then she wrote her reply. "Admiral Zethron, I will be there. I will do whatever you need, but I have one condition. My crew comes with me. They deserve this honor as much as I do. They are the real heroes." The response came quickly. "Your condition is accepted with gratitude. We will prepare quarters for all 47 of your crew. The Velanthe people will meet the humans who saved them. This is proper. This is right. I look forward to seeing you again, my friend." Alina smiled at the word friend. She had not expected to make friends among the Velanthe, but Zethron had risked his own ship to protect hers. That kind of act created bonds that words could not describe. The next morning, the Defiant left Earth with its full crew aboard. The ship was cleaner and stronger than it had ever been, its new Velanthe shields glowing with soft blue light. But inside, it was still the same old ship that Alina loved. The journey through space was peaceful. The crew relaxed and enjoyed the quiet after the chaos of the past 2 months. Some played games, some read books, some just stared out the windows at the stars. On the 3rd day of travel, Chief Engineer Rodriguez came to see her. "Captain, can I speak with you?" "Of course, Rodriguez. And please just call me Alina when we're not on duty." Rodriguez sat down across from her. He was a large man with rough hands and an honest face. He had served on the Defiant for 10 years. "I just wanted to say thank you," he said, "for what you did back there." "I should be thanking you. You got those engines running when it seemed impossible." "That's not what I mean." Rodriguez looked down at his hands. "I've served under a lot of captains. Most of them would have ignored that distress call. They would have followed orders and let those people die. You didn't. You risked everything to save strangers. That means something to me." Alina was quiet for a moment. "I almost got us all killed, Rodriguez. I was scared every second of that battle." "Being scared isn't the problem, Captain. Everyone gets scared. The question is what you do when you're scared. You kept fighting. You kept thinking. You found a way to win. That's what a real leader does." Alina looked at her old friend and crewmate. "Rodriguez, do you know why I joined the Space Force?" "No, ma'am, I never asked." "When I was a little girl, my family lived on a colony ship traveling to a new planet. The ship had an accident. The engines failed and we were drifting toward a sun. Everyone thought we were going to die, but then another ship came, a cargo freighter with a civilian crew. They weren't military. They weren't heroes. They were just ordinary people doing a job, but they saw our distress call and they came to help. They saved 300 people that day, including me." She paused, remembering. "I never met the captain of that freighter. I never got to thank her. But I promised myself that someday I would do the same thing. I would be the person who came when others needed help." Rodriguez nodded slowly. "And now you are." "Now I am. Strange how life works out." The Velanthe homeworld was called Velanth Prime. and it was the most beautiful planet Alina had ever seen. Its surface was covered with crystal forests and silver oceans. Cities of light rose toward the sky, their towers shaped like the delicate ships that had nearly been destroyed in the Crimson Cloud. The Defiant landed at the main spaceport, surrounded by crowds of Velanthi who had come to see the famous human ship. Alina looked out at the sea of tall, graceful aliens and felt her stomach twist with nervousness. "Remember," she told her crew, "we're representing all of humanity here. Be polite, be respectful, and please don't break anything." Admiral Zethron was waiting for her at the bottom of the ramp. He looked different than she remembered. In the battle, he had been tired and stressed, his silver skin dull with exhaustion. Now he stood tall and proud, his ceremonial robes flowing like water around him. "Commodore Vasquez," he said, and his musical voice carried across the quiet crowd. "Welcome to Velanth Prime. Welcome to your new home among the stars." Alina walked down the ramp and stood before him. According to Velanthi custom, she placed her hand over her heart and bowed her head. "High Admiral Zethron, I am honored to be here. My crew and I thank you for your invitation." Zethron did something that shocked everyone watching. He knelt before Alina, placing his own hand over his heart. It was a gesture that Velanthi only made to their highest rulers. "The honor is ours," he said loudly so all could hear. "You saved our children. You risked your life for strangers. In 3,000 years, no one has shown us such kindness. Today, the Velanthi people name you Friend of Velanth. This title has never been given to someone outside our species. You are the first. May you be the first of many." The crowd erupted in cheers. The sound was strange and beautiful, like 1,000 bells ringing together. Alina felt overwhelmed by the emotion of the moment. "I don't deserve this," she said quietly, so only Zethron could hear. "You do," he replied as he stood. "You simply do not believe it yet. Come, there is much to see and much to celebrate." The next 3 days on Velanth Prime were filled with ceremonies and meetings. Alina met the leaders of the Velanthi government, serious figures who looked at her with eyes full of ancient wisdom. She met the families of the children she had saved, parents who wept as they thanked her. She met scientists and artists and teachers, all wanting to shake the hand of the human who had changed everything. But the most important meeting came on the second day, in a quiet garden behind the main government building. In the center of the garden, sitting on a bench carved from a single piece of white stone, was a small Velanthi child. The child was young, maybe equivalent to 8 human years. Her silver skin was still soft and smooth. She looked up at Alina with large, golden eyes. "You are the human captain," the child said. Her voice was like tiny bells. "I am," Alina replied. "And who are you?" "My name is Narration. I was on the flagship when the bad ships attacked. I was scared." Alina sat down beside the child, careful to move slowly and gently. "I was scared too. Being scared is okay." Narration looked at her with curiosity. "You were scared, but you came to save us. How could you do that if you were scared?" "Being brave doesn't mean not being scared," Alina explained. "Being brave means doing what you need to do even when you are scared. Does that make sense?" The child thought about this for a moment, then she nodded. "I think so." Narration reached into a small bag she was carrying and pulled out a tiny crystal figure. It was shaped like a ship, carved with incredible detail. "I made this for you," she said shyly. "It's your ship. My mother helped me, but I did most of the work myself." Alina took the crystal figure carefully. It was beautiful, every line of the Defiant captured perfectly in glittering stone. "This is wonderful," she said, and her voice was thick with emotion. "I will keep it forever." The ceremony of alliance took place on the 3rd day, in the great hall of the Velanthi Council. The room was enormous, its ceiling lost in shadows far above. Thousands of Velanthi filled the seats, their silver skin reflecting the soft light like mirrors. On one side of the hall stood the leaders of the Valanthi Collective. On the other side stood the Terran delegation, led by Admiral Harrison himself. And in the center, on a raised platform visible to all, stood Elena Vasquez and Zethron. The High Counselor of the Valanthi, an ancient being with skin like weathered silver, spoke first. For 3,000 years we have watched the younger races of the galaxy. We have remained apart, believing that we had nothing to learn from them. We were wrong. In one moment of crisis, one human showed us what we had forgotten. She showed us that courage is not about strength or numbers. She showed us that honor means helping those who need help, even at great cost to yourself. The High Counselor walked forward and stood before Elena. Today, we join with humanity in alliance. We do this not because humans are powerful or wealthy. We do this because one human, alone against impossible odds, came to save our children. We do this because Elena Vasquez taught us what it truly means to be brave. Elena looked out at the watching crowd, Valanthi and human together. She thought about all the events that had led to this moment. A distress call, a decision, a battle, and now an alliance that would change the galaxy forever. "Thank you," she said, her voice carrying through the great hall. "But I didn't do this alone. My crew saved you. They followed me into darkness without question. This honor belongs to them as much as it belongs to me. They are the real heroes, and there are millions more like them back home. Ordinary people who would do extraordinary things to help those in need. That's what humanity is. That's who we are." The hall erupted in applause, Valanthi and humans together making a sound unlike anything Elena had ever heard. It was the sound of two peoples becoming one family. 5 years passed after the alliance was formed. 5 years of peace and progress, of humans and Valanthi working together to build something new. Ships carrying both species traveled the space lanes. Scientists shared discoveries. Artists created works that combined the best of both cultures. Elena was promoted twice more during those years. First to Rear Admiral, then to Vice Admiral. She commanded a fleet of 20 ships, crewed by humans and Valanthi working side by side. The Defiant had been retired from combat duty and turned into a museum, visited by thousands who wanted to see the ship that had changed history. When the Kraul attacked again 5 years later with 200 ships, Elena led the defense. The battle at Valanth Prime was fierce and terrible. Elena's fleet was outnumbered 10-1, but humans and Valanthi fought together, and together they won. The Kraul never attacked again. Their power was broken, and their alliance with other hostile species fell apart. Elena Vasquez served in the fleet for another 20 years. She led battles and negotiated treaties. She trained young officers and advised old leaders. She watched the alliance grow from 2 species to 12, as others saw the benefits of standing together. On her 70th birthday, she finally retired. The ceremony was held on the Defiant, in the museum that had once been her home. Thousands attended, humans and Valanthi and representatives from all the Alliance species. After the ceremony, she walked alone through the old ship, touching the walls she knew so well. She stood on the bridge where she had made the choice that changed everything. "Hello, Captain." She turned. Standing in the doorway was Narration, no longer a child but a grown Valanthi woman. She wore the uniform of a Valanthi fleet commander. "Narration, you came. I would not miss this day for anything." Narration walked forward and held out a small box. Inside was another crystal figure, larger and more detailed than the first. It showed 2 ships flying side by side, one human and one Valanthi. "I made it myself," Narration said. "I wanted to show what you really gave us, not just survival, friendship, partnership, a future together." Elena took the crystal figure and held it to the light. It sparkled like a small galaxy, full of stars and promise. "It's beautiful," she said. "So is what you built," Narration replied. "My children will grow up in a galaxy that is safer and better because of you. That is your true legacy, Admiral. Not the battles you won, but the world you created. Alina felt tears in her eyes, just as she had so many years ago. I never wanted to be a legend, she said quietly. Perhaps not, but you are one anyway. They stood together, Human and Velanthe, looking out at the endless stars. Somewhere out there, ships were flying on missions of peace and exploration. Species that had once been strangers were now friends. Children were growing up never knowing the fear of war. It was a good galaxy, a galaxy worth building, a galaxy worth protecting. Alina Vasquez, Terran captain who earned legendary status after saving the alien fleet from certain destruction, smiled as she looked at the stars. Not bad, she said to herself, not bad at all.